obviously I'm pleased with the win. I thought we showed some grit there. The last, playing the game without Isaiah Bigelow, playing much of the game without Neil Quinn. We had other guys come in and step up, and then I felt like in the last 4 minutes of the game, I think Tyler had the block shot at the rim. Then we stole 2 passes, maybe 3, but and then Andre on one of the final possessions really played great defense on Norris, who's a terrific 3-point shooter. So very pleased with the win, and looking forward to Wednesday at LaSalle.
Coach Mooney, could you bring us up to speed on the health of Bigelow and Quinn as you move into LaSalle Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know too much right now, John. I think, for Isaiah Bigelow, he had an MRI done, but it was late yesterday, like early evening, so we didn't have the read on it, the result yet. But I feel like he's a little bit of a day-to-day right now, pending the result of that. And then Neil will just have to see how bad it is, ankle. And when he wakes up tomorrow, that'll tell a lot.
You noted yesterday that Richmond has struggled in some of these close games. What is the difference this afternoon in terms of being able to get over the hump?
Probably defense. At GW on Wednesday, we really executed extremely well at the end of regulation, end of the first overtime, the end of the second overtime. But they also made shots, and we didn't make shots. Today we didn't really make shots, but then we were very good defensively those last 4 minutes, and were able to again show some grit and some toughness, and that made it so that gave us enough breathing room to win the game.
Could you speak to Tyler's contributions, especially late?
Yeah, he was great. I thought that he was, at times he's all over the court. He draws fouls regularly, so he puts pressure on the defense that way. The block shot that he had was key, and then he's a very good free throw shooter. So it's that you're comfortable when he's in the game as small forward or third guard, whatever it might be. So, and I anticipated with Isaiah out that Tyler would probably play the whole game, and then of course when Neil went out, I thought for sure he would.
Thank you.
What can this do for the entire team to win? Not just to win a close game, but to win one where it was runs back and forth. You're up by 8, and then you're only up by 3.
Yeah.
Back and forth, and they never did take the lead after the
Is that right?
couple minutes.
How about that? Yeah. It's just huge. The hardest part, as Jim Miller told me when we were first here, the hardest part is there's no win-win. It doesn't. If you play well and lose, that's still a loss. And so to win and to feel like those the plays that we made at the end of the game against GW. Matt Grace, a big shot, Jai and Goose hitting their free throws down the stretch in a tough situation, executing plays. Those just don't feel as good because we didn't win the game. And so when you can win the game, then you have that positive reinforcement on anything that went right is really positively reinforced, and you feel like you did some things to win, and we did. And so hopefully that can carry over and really give us a boost here as we move forward.
Goose's defense has been tremendous all year, but how good do you feel for him to get a little bit of credit for his offense for a change?
Yeah, well, he played a terrific all-around game, and a couple of the drives he had early were great, and Andre, we really feel like can do that a little bit more. He's a very aggressive driver. He's a very good cutter, even though in the second half he missed, and Matt tipped it in for an N1. That was a great cut that he made. I think that he can, he's a player who doesn't care about scoring or statistics, and so for him to be able to get in that column, with a great day, is oftentimes just based on his aggression and how good of a cutter and a driver he is, and I think that showed up for him in a big way today.
If you do have to go at least a game or two shorthanded, Walsh came in, gave you some good minutes this afternoon, but how much would you expect to expand your bench in that way and get some of those guys in that haven't gotten a lot of minutes?
Yeah, well, I do anticipate, I don't know exactly how it'll turn out, but I anticipate needing to play a few more guys. And, I feel great about that. I think that, Mike Walls I mean, he can really pass that ball. He can really pass the ball, and he's a physical player. I think he's going to have a great career. And so, you know, he probably didn't, I'm sure he wanted to play, but didn't have that expectation and came in and did great. And so I think if the mentality of the guys is there, then they're going to have the opportunity to succeed when that shows up for them. And so I think this is a good reminder for everyone that, hey, you never know, and you got to be ready if your number's called.
Could you speak to the alumni, and do you have a message, basketball alumni?
Yeah, well,
a message for them.
Yes. So Mark McGonigal did another great job putting it together for us. We had a really good turnout. Yeah, I mean, the alums that are able to make it back it's great. You know, we had a few of the players who played for us in the locker room after the game. They were here for a breakfast and shoot around. Some of the guys who played for us didn't make the breakfast, but they're here, and it's great, John. I feel like Richmond basketball is something special where there are lots of guys who have been here 4 and 5 years, 6 years, and they love Richmond. They love the basketball program. They love Richmond. There's a connection between the current players and the alums, and that's really important to me because I think that's something that NIL or cost of attendance can't buy, and I think that shows up for us when we're recruiting and when we have our players and their families. I think that's something that really resonates with people because it's genuine and it's very much established.
Andre, Neil was so impactful while he played, and I wonder what changed when he went out, if anything, with the Spiders and how you approach things.
I think not a lot changed with Mike Waltz coming in. He was contributing really positively on everything. And like we knew that. That's why we didn't change any of the game plan because he is a really good player and his passing ability is really good. And I think he was finding us really well. And the only thing we did is like kept telling him to be aggressive, and that worked.
Obviously, 2 guys down. I wonder what this says about what you can do with your bench and perhaps the offensive efficiency that came out of this game. Shoot 54%, it was up around 60% with 7 minutes left.
What's the question?
I feel, you know, offensively it seemed to come together.
Yeah, I feel like the guys trust each other. I feel like the mentality in the team is like next man up. We're missing Zay today. He's been really good for us. Neil was really good today before he went down. But we know everybody on the bench can contribute. Like Marcus, Jason Nelson, all those guys. We all trust them. That's why I feel like it still works even though some guys go down, which is just part of it.
Were the back doors open because of the way the Ramblers played defense, or did you just have an emphasis on that?
I think the emphasis is always there. I think they were denying passing lanes a lot, so the paint was a little more open, and especially when Mike came in, he was able to like really take or use those opportunities that he saw and all those angles that he got on from the high post. So yeah, I feel like that's just something that it's always there. We just gotta use it. Especially they were more aggressive today than a usual team would guard us.
So many close games have gone the other way for the Spiders this year. In your view, what is the difference today to kind of get you over the top in a close game?
I think we're coming together. I think there's just singular moments I can think of, like for myself, that have gone wrong in the games, like GW, Charleston. But I feel like everybody knows that I take accountability on that, and I feel like everybody's understanding the mistakes they're making and making sure that just doesn't happen again. And I feel like today was a good day in that sense.
Thank you.
You obviously hands up at the passing lanes, an emphasis all the time, but it seemed like you guys were even more active. Tipping balls, intercepting passes, 9 steals tonight, creating 15 turnovers. Has there been more of an emphasis, or was tonight just one of those nights where it worked out for you?
I think the emphasis is always there. We're trying to, like, especially on the ball screens, try to make it as uncomfortable for the guys and like try and get any deflection we can. And I think today worked very well because I feel like for us, not letting them get into their offense and run smoothly, that's the best chance for us to get a stop. And I feel like that way, that was kind of helped us today.
Your defense personally has been so good this year. Do you ever get surprised when you're as open as you were on some of those cuts and getting to the basket?
A little bit, but also then once I was thinking that they are, like, probably expect me to shoot more or something. And they were very, like, even if I was, like, on the far corner, they were still, like, basically hugging me. So I feel like they were just overreacting to me trying to go. So it was just, like changing angles, basically, and, like, that game there. Like, so I feel like I was a little surprised, but also understanding because they were playing that aggressive.
Like John said, there were so many close games that haven't gone your way this year. How can an outcome like this, where, you know, wasn't the most even game in the world back and forth, but what can this do for you guys in the locker room moving forward to know that this is how you pull one of those out?
Yeah, I think we're maturing. I would say that, and then I would also say that I feel like the guys know now what it feels like winning games like this. That, like, as long as we're good on defense, create turnovers, like, we give ourselves a chance to win. And we can't forget to be also really aggressive on the offensive end, especially just adapting to how teams defend us.
Anything else for Goose, guys?
A couple former Spiders in the building today. How did it feel to have them back, and were you able to connect with them before the game?
Yeah, we met before shoot-around this morning. It was great seeing them. I feel like that brought a lot of energy because I've played with some of those guys, like, for 4 years. Yeah, I think that was great, and then that brought a lot of energy to the building.